Karla, do you want to just start out telling us a bit about yourself, where you're from, and how the hell did you end up in Northern Ireland?
Okay, my name is Karla McDermott. I'm the Social Outreach Coordinator for Glentoran Social Partnership. I came to live in Northern Ireland because I married a man from here many years ago. I'm from California, and I met my husband at the University of Rhode Island, where he was on a soccer scholarship and I was on a volleyball scholarship. From that point, I graduated in 1998, and we've been traveling the world ever since.
And how have you found Northern Ireland? How have you found the people, the culture? Have you felt like you're well accepted here?
Yeah, so my first experience here was in 1996. We came, and it was an eye-opener. When I left and got on the airplane, my parents were very nervous. My dad said, make sure you lock your doors if you're in the car, and just be careful. And I just didn't know anything about Belfast at all. And I actually thought, I thought Northern Ireland was the north of Ireland. I didn't actually realize it was two separate.
It happens.
Yeah, so came here. My husband's from a lovely big family, and it was amazing, but I was actually the first person of color that they ever met. So it was really a lot of really wide eyes, like, who is this person? I can remember going to pick up my nephew at Glentoran Primary School, and my husband leaving me in the car and him running up to get Gary and coming back. And the car was surrounded with little primary school children looking in the car, like 50 kids surrounding the car. And I was like, oh my gosh, get me out of here. But just like pointing and going like this, and my nephew came out strutting, that's my Auntie Karla, So, but the whole time's been wonderful. Everybody's been welcoming. It was a little bit intimidating the first couple weeks here to see soldiers on the road, to see machine guns, but everybody else is like, they didn't even notice it. It was just normal everyday activity. That was and the checkpoints, driving through the city with the checkpoints, that was an experience.
Obviously you were here for maybe the tail end of the Troubles. How has Northern Ireland changed in the last 20 plus years?
So the first time coming in 1996, young, still only 19 years old at that time, and going to the city center, going out, it was an experience. It was like places that we would walk through were empty, were dark, and then over the years, coming back every year. Now the Cathedral Quarter, for instance, is amazing. Belfast City is one of my favorite cities, and I visit it a lot around the world. I tell everybody about it. Just the amount of businesses and activity that is now in the city center, that's the biggest change. The restaurants, the bars, the coffee culture that's here now, the cafes. That wasn't here when I was first coming in 1996, 97, 98, but in the 2000s, early now, you started to see those changes.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I've seen some of those changes over the last 10 to 15 years, and I want to ask you a local question, if you will. Being from the Bay Area myself, what is the most similar thing that Northern Ireland has with the San Francisco Bay Area, and what is the most different?
Oh, goodness me. The most similar thing, to a certain extent, the weather. So the damp, the cold, the rain, that's kind of consistent with the Bay. Yeah, I think that would be the most similar, but the most different, the diversity. The diversity, I mean, the Bay Area is truly a melting pot of every, culture, color, background. It's just so, so diverse. And over the years coming here, I could actually say in the first 5 years I was coming here, I never met another person of color. I was the only one walking through the city center. Then over the years, as time goes by, you start to see more, especially up near Queen's University and around the university areas, you start to see more people of color. But other than that, there wasn't anyone. So that's been the biggest difference for me.
So switching gears here, football or soccer is not the most popular sport in the United States. I think it's maybe even more rare to see an American working in football/soccer abroad. How did that come about?
So here we're at Glentoran Football Club, and my husband is the manager. So that's why I'm here. football's a big part of our life. I no longer call it soccer, it's football for me. So yeah, I came to start working here in Glentoran as a volunteer, just to help out my husband and help out the club. Glentoran's always had a really strong community of volunteers. There's not much changes, not many changes that need to be made. You're just trying to support the programs that they have in place already and promote what we're doing. So that's my biggest job, and to get a good bead on the local community and what their need is, and create and develop programs to suit them and to have a big impact.
Can you talk about some of the programs you're working on, some of the work you've undertaken, and maybe some inspiring stories you've had over this time?
So I just came in January 2020, just before the pandemic hit, and one of the favorite programs that we started was actually started by our board and Ruth McCreary, who runs our superstore, and that's the Golden Oldies, and that's calling our over 70s community. So our board of directors, our volunteers, our staff, and our first team for the men and the women, we have a list of 115 or so over 70s old age pensioners, and we called them. Everybody called. You had 2 people that you had to call per week, and you touched base with them and just inquired about how they're doing. You know, a lot of them were sheltering at home. The response was amazing. You know, we had feedback from one guy. His son actually sent us a message saying, my dad was completely overwhelmed to receive a call from Luke McCulloch. And he's like, who is this? It's Luke McCulloch from Glentoran. And he was amazed. And it was good for the team as well, because they were a bit intimidated when you first said, you know, you're going to be calling and talking to, and like, what do we say? I said, just imagine it's your nan or your granddad, and then you're just talking to them. And a conversation that should have been, you know, 5 minutes or less ended up being 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and it was really impactful. It was really good. So that's a sample of some of the programs we've been running.
So what makes Glens, what makes the Glens the best team in Northern Ireland?
For me, the team, I love the team. I love the community. When I first came here, when Michael and our family, we first moved here, I had visa problems getting in, even though we'd been married for 25 years. I had to go away for a little bit of time and then come back, and the kids and Michael stayed here. The Glentoran community, East Belfast, came out in force. I mean, they were signing petitions and contacting local councillors. It was just amazing. I didn't even see a lot of what was going on because I was away, but the response from the community was so overwhelming, and I'm so thankful for it. So I just love it here. And it is that warm, welcoming community who are so passionate about the Glens and have been for generations. I think other teams may have that, but I think we have the biggest fan base on the island. And they're amazing, yeah. So I love it.
And I'm wondering, so maybe it's a small sample size, but in your time with Glens, what's been as a fan and as maybe an employee, what's been your favorite Glens moment while you've been involved?
Oh, Boxing Day. Boxing Day 2019, when we were here and we beat Lenfield at home. It was my first Boxing Day, and everybody had talked about it. Michael had just come in. It was our first season. We were in the stands. It was packed, and the roar, like you could feel the stands shake. I mean, Elvio, he scored the first goal, and the place erupted. And it was packed that side with Lenfield fans. It was packed this Glens the whole way around. Amazing atmosphere. And then, of course, there's 2, the Irish Cup win, and that was during COVID, so we didn't even get to have the hoopla that surrounds it, so I'm not even sure what it's like, but I've heard amazing stories. But just that experience of the Irish Cup, playing in the National Stadium, we only had 500 fans total in the entire stadium, but we sang and chanted the entire time. Coming back to the Oval, the whole Newton Arts Road was filled with people. The bus couldn't even get down the road. It was an amazing experience, and my kids were there, and we were able to celebrate it, and we brought the cup home to the house and had it the next morning, traveled around, letting other people see it. It was great. Yeah, favorite moments. I hope to repeat those.
Now, are your kids Glen fans as well, or has it trickled out throughout the family? How does that work with your big kind of international family?
So what happens is whatever club my husband's working at, that becomes our club. And, I then have my entire wardrobe, whatever colors they are. So when we were in the Middle East and we worked at Al Ain Club in Abu Dhabi, their colors are purple. So my entire wardrobe was purple. Being here at Glentoran, I have a little bit more selection. So it's red, green, and black I can wear, which is great. The kids are huge fans. But the other side of it, of being the manager's family, it comes with a lot of pressure and a lot of stress. So they don't really like to come to the matches, especially not the big ones, because every goal and your heart's racing. Everyone else is cheering for the team, but it's a different level for the family. So 2 out of our 4 kids, they choose not to come. And the fans are really passionate, and if things aren't going well, it can get a little bit.
There's ups and downs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a roller coaster. So, but they're true Glentoran fans. This has been our favorite stop. I can say that.
So you have, sort of an international family, if you will. If I can ask, how much does your family feel like they're Northern Irish? How much do they feel like they're American? How much do they feel maybe more international? How does that work as a family, if you don't mind me asking?
My oldest daughter, Kaylee, was born here, the Royal Victoria. My second daughter, Kira, was born in the US, in Connecticut. And our 2 boys were both born in Abu Dhabi. So they have this kind of, where are we now? Grown up as true expat babies. 12 years in the Middle East meant that we saw friends come and go. And everybody, when you said where you're from, it was like, well, which passport do you carry? But a lot of people have multiple passports. Because I'm the mom and I'm American, they always were American, But my husband being from Northern Ireland and living abroad, the kids didn't actually really get a feel for what that meant, which is great since we're here now. When they're abroad, they just, said they're Irish because that's what people knew. The story of Northern Ireland is not that well known abroad. So when the kids say, yeah, I'm American and Northern Irish, they're just like, you're Irish. And that's just traveling, that's just the reality of it, So since we've been home now 3 years, it's the first taste of the kids knowing what that means to be Northern Irish. This is the first moment for them. And they now would say, like their dad, that they're Northern Irish, whereas before they would say, I'm American and Irish. So it's actually been I'm glad we came home here at the time we did, and at this point where the kids are in their lives.
And so what do you think the future holds? Is this your home for an extended period of time? The family feels like they're quite happy here?
Yeah, well, Northern Ireland has always been home. It has always been home. So no matter where we travel to, even though I'm from the US, we've always called Belfast home, Northern Ireland home, because wherever we were, this is the one place we come every year. Whereas sometimes in the US, I wouldn't make it home for 2 or 3 years at a time. But we always came here. So for now, this is where we are, and this is where we're happy. So yeah, we're enjoying it.
I think you've answered this last question already, but I have to ask it because it's the name of the series. How here-ish do you feel now?
Yeah, absolutely. We're here. We're in Northern Ireland. We're loving it. We're happy to be here at this time, in Northern Ireland, and feel completely at home, definitely.